It's our series, but it's your questions. What do you want to know about medical questions that are affecting you or your family? We call it Doc Talk.
That's right. And today, Dr. Leo Lopez, he is a medical director with University Health, is joining us live to answer your questions. And I'll start with this one. What trends are we seeing now with kids and the RSV and flu?
It's an important question, and we're still in the thick of RSV and flu season, and I'm certainly seeing this in my clinic. And in fact, across our health system, at the end of last week, we still had about 200 positive tests for RSV, about 160 roughly for flu. So this is still really contagious and can be really serious and dangerous, especially for our young kids and older adults.
Are other parts of the country seeing more RSV flu than we are?
You know, it's hard to say. I think one good place to look is at the CDC. They've got a hub of data that helps kind of break things down by region. But there are things that we can do here in our community, right in Bexar County, to help protect ourselves. In fact, for both flu and RSV, we've got vaccine products available. So definitely recommend folks connecting with their doctor, their local pharmacy to see about the availability of those vaccines.
Now, there's in that question there, whoever wrote that into us also wanted to know about the difference between those, with RSV and flu, and COVID, because when you're talking about diseases of the respiratory system, it's kind of hard to tell the difference or distinguish between them.
No, you're exactly right. And so there can be a lot of overlap between symptoms from RSV, COVID, and flu. For RSV, it can be a little more common to have that runny or stuffy nose. For the flu, it might be more common to feel a lot more tired, some fatigue, having those fevers. And with COVID, you can still have fevers and kind of the other symptoms of the other two infections. But then there's that characteristic loss of taste and smell. You know, for any of these, again, they're overlapping. You can seek medical care if you feel like you're feeling under the weather, and connect with your doctor again about these different vaccine products and/or if there's a treatment that's right for you.
All right, next question comes from Anonymous. What are your thoughts about handheld mesh nebulizers? Do you prefer mesh nebulizers or jet nebulizers?
Sure. Thank you for the question. So just to kind of state and level set, nebulizers are tools that we use to turn liquid medication into a form that we can breathe in. And one of the common ones that we see is using something like albuterol for patients that have asthma.
Right.
And so the difference between these two, so the jet nebulizer is going to be more common, a little more affordable. It's going to also be less efficient. It's going to require us using some type of pressurized air or oxygen to be used. For the mesh, it's going to be more portable. It's going to be a little more expensive, but also more efficient. So definitely recommend folks circle back with their doctor, consider their personal circumstances to find which option would be best for them.
Okay, and this next question is coming from Tom, and it's about diabetes or pre-diabetes. So he's asking why the medical community is so vague about the label. He says, I diet and exercise and monitor my glucose, which is trending down, but the endocrinologist won't see me until my A1C is 7 or higher. On my own, I'm controlling it with berberine and cinnamon.
Thank you for the question, Tom. And so just to state clearly, prediabetes is a serious condition. This is where we have a problem with our blood sugar. It's a little too high, just not high enough to be considered diabetes. And in fact, about 100 million Americans have prediabetes, but about 80% don't know they have it at all. So when we've got prediabetes, this increases our risk of heart disease, stroke, and getting diabetes itself. And there are things that we can do today to try and reduce our chances of getting diabetes, because prediabetes in many cases is reversible and manageable. So a few of these things are trying to adhere to a healthy diet, getting at least 5 servings of fruits and vegetables every day, trying to limit going out to eat and limiting fast food, trying not to have more than 2 times per week, for example. and then getting plenty of exercise. So for an adult, that comes out to about 5 days out of the week. We want to get at least 30 minutes of exercise. And we've talked in the past, something as simple as a walk can be beneficial. What we aim for is that weight management, trying to lose 5 to 7% of our body weight. That can go a long way to help manage prediabetes.
What are the signs and symptoms?
For some, they might not have any symptoms at all. And so we definitely recommend folks checking in with their doctor to see if they are eligible or if they would benefit from a screening. When folks do have symptoms, it can be similar to when we have diabetes, increased thirst, urination, that sort of thing. So we want to ensure that folks are connecting with their doctors again about that screening process.
So it sounds like Tom's doing a lot of the right things, controlling his diet, exercising, things like that. But he talks about berberine, if I'm saying that right, and cinnamon. Are those things that can bring your your A1C levels down?
Yeah, it's an important question. And currently, those two supplements aren't part of the recommended way to manage or prevent diabetes or prediabetes. Some of what we would advise is, again, that healthy weight management, getting that 5 to 7% of our weight down in the next year. And if folks are looking for some structure, they can consider something like the DASH diet or the Mediterranean diet.
Okay, but just before we go, but those two things, the berberine and the cinnamon, you're saying that there's no research really that supports that, but do they hurt if you're pre-diabetic?
I can't say whether they hurt or not, but there's not high quality evidence that's been generated to allow us to make a confident recommendation that this should be part of the regimen to prevent prediabetes or treat diabetes.
Yeah, and with diabetes being such a problem in our community, it's a good idea to get checked.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Dr. Leo Lopez, University Health, always appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Interesting stuff. Sales are down for iconic whiskey Jack Daniels.
Yeah, down a little bit. The brand's parent company, Brown-Forman, says sales of its Jack Daniels whiskey fell 1% in the first half of its current fiscal year. Now, that's a contrast to the same time period a year ago when sales of Jack Daniels whiskey rose almost 10%. The one bright spot for Brown-Forman's whiskey business, sales of its Jack Daniels Tennessee Apple whiskey jumped 50%.
We know that people were drinking a lot more during the pandemic. Maybe this is part of it. All right. Well, an etching by Dutch artist Rembrandt comes with an explicit warning. The international auction house Christie's is selling the 1646 print titled The French Bed. But you see that right there? That's not a mistake. You can only see it online if you click past a content warning. Christie's is describing it as one of a small number of, quote, explicit erotic prints by Rembrandt, end quote. It also declined to comment on why it added the warning. The drawing, by the way, is expected to fetch up to $500,000. Yeah. All right,
70 degrees out there and pretty nice day. Nothing to really complain about.
Except why are you wearing a snowflake tie?
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. Why I have one of my snowflake ties.
I almost wore a very similar tie to that.
That would have been scary.
That would have been crazy.
It would have been awesome. Yeah. It doesn't mean we have snow on the way, so don't get excited, kids and adults. Don't get excited. We'll talk about that. Our first freeze on the way, a likely change in mountain cedar as we get into the weekend. That, along with the winds changing, we'll talk about all the cold front effects in just a bit.
A former board member for the Texas Organizing Project told us how the group works in an anonymous interview. This all involves the recent Shane James case and how that group bonded him out of jail.
A former gang member in Quentin Phillips' group testified in the second day of his murder trial, saying someone must be held accountable for the murder of the 4-year-old boy who died in a drive-by shooting.
The San Antonio City Council voting to increase everyone's CPS energy bill by about $4. The reasoning is because of, quote, aging technology and its plan to turn a coal plant into one for natural gas.
A migrant woman sharing her story with us today on surviving domestic violence and how anyone can ask for help, no matter their legal status. These stories and more right now on KSAT12.
Now we want to talk about the weather.
Absolutely. And the fact that we're going to see some changes, but nothing like what we've seen in the past, Adam Cass.
No, it's hard to believe. Back in 2017, on this day, it snowed. Remember that?
Big
We all remember.
snowflakes, too. They were huge snowflakes.
Yeah, because they were sticking together.
Yeah.
Because it was that warm snow. And we even had thunder snow in some parts of town. Up in Bulverde, in Fair Oaks Ranch even, we had some thunder snow with this, which just means that it's very active and it's coming down heavily. So on this day in 2017, we had 1.9 inches measured at the airport. That's the second earliest snowfall on record. But I remember up in Bulverde, in that area north of town, we picked up nearly 4 inches of rain in the heaviest. Good memories. Even the next morning. Oh man, that's back when my little Josie was what, 2.5, 3 years old? Jeez, now she's a big fourth grader singing on one of the river boats last night. It was really fun with her
Nice.
elementary school choir. That was fun to go see. Anyway, look at our temperature trend. It's changing. Next few mornings, warm and humid, low to mid 60s. Then the cold front hits and our morning temperatures drop down into the 30s. And by Monday, we're likely to have a light freeze Monday morning, around 32 degrees for a few hours Monday morning. So pipes will be okay. I'm not worried about pipes or anything like that. Just a brief light freeze. It could get colder than that. We'll keep you updated as we get more info. Temperatures to the north, actually well above average right now. It's the colder air in Canada we'll be tapping into. The cold front is in the upper Midwest, and temperatures in Canada not frigid for this time of year. Generally 20s, even some teens. Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, my favorite, above freezing even at 34 degrees. Still, that's colder air. It's plunging southward. It's going to make it here by Saturday afternoon. So you won't really feel the change in temperature until first thing on Sunday morning. That's when the colder air settles in, and our first thing in the morning temperature, our low, that's going to be in the upper 30s. Now, afternoon temperatures will be impacted, but not as significantly. We'll go from well into the 70s, even near 80 Friday and Saturday, back down into the low to mid 60s for high temperatures Sunday through next week, which keep in mind the average is in the mid 60s. So the cold front's going to reset our afternoon highs back to near normal for this time of year. Here's another change coming. The humidity, it's already rising. Dew points are popping up at the ground, at the surface. We've got high pressure over the Carolinas. That gives us that southeasterly flow off the Gulf of Mexico. That will continually increase our humidity tonight. And not only will you feel the stickiness in the air Friday through midday Saturday, but it's going to cause some morning fog as well. Then behind the cold front, 3-4 o'clock on Saturday, it sweeps away the mugginess. So notice the dew points on the rise well into the 60s. Tomorrow, that'll give us the morning fog. Saturday, dew points mid 60s, morning fog likely. And then we sweep away that mugginess 3-4 o'clock on Saturday. And by the way, secure your inflatable Christmas decorations for Saturday night. Winds will be howling 30 to 40 miles per hour Saturday night into very early on Sunday morning. So that's something to prepare for. Tomorrow, 63 at 8 o'clock. By noon, we're at 68. And then we hit a high temperature of 78 degrees. Even a few locations south of town probably making it up to 80 or a little bit warmer than 80, and just a 10% chance of a few showers with the front Saturday, 20% chance by the middle of next week. I'm sorry I lose my voice so easily with whatever this virus is that I'm dealing with. It's going through the house. So many friends have it as well. Oh man, but I do want to announce, I've got just enough left in me. A winner, thermometer ornament winner. It's that time of year for the ornaments. Vanessa Brown of Natalia. Sending you an email here in just a few seconds. Vanessa, go to KSAT12.com/thermometer to enter the drawing.
Congratulations to
Vanessa. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. To the buzz, and a study reveals why California redwoods are so resilient following damaging wildfires. Researchers looked at the trees in Big Basin State Park, that's south of San Francisco, in the wake of the CZU lightning complex fires of 2020. They found carbon reserves dating back 50 to 100 years that can be used to create new leaves and perform photosynthesis.
Yeah, they also found new sprouts coming from the bud traces, which are lines that run from inside the tree to the surface that can lead to new leaves. Now, some of the trees grew the bud traces thousands of years ago, and the scientists think that it's in biological anticipation of events like wildfires.
All right, with the holidays coming in hot, Starbucks offering half-off drinks every Thursday in December. Starting today, a coupon for a 50% off drink will be available to reward members in the Starbucks app each Thursday.
Okay, so customers are allowed one discounted drink each Thursday from noon to 6 p.m. So already the cutoff has passed us. Starbucks is calling the promotion Festive Thursdays.
Yeah, you can get half off a half latte. Well, if you're a fan of the Netflix show Squid Games, I am, and you wanted to attempt an actual obstacle course, then you're in luck. Netflix will soon be opening locations that will allow fans to fully immerse themselves in their favorite shows.
Ooh, like Stranger Things, I'm thinking. All right, well, the company's vice president of consumer products making that announcement during an interview with Bloomberg this week. They're going to be called, these places are Netflix House. They're going to have rotating installations. The company is aiming to launch the first 2 locations in the U.S. in 2025. They want to do that before they expand it globally. However, we don't know what those 2 locations in the U.S. are just yet. They haven't announced them. We'll be right back.
I'm curious. Today is a sweet day indeed. It's National Cotton Candy Day. I don't think we have to tell you how to celebrate. Find yourself some cotton candy and eat it up. It's also Sticky Face Day.
Yeah, you know who's not going to be eating it? Adam Caskey. Now, here's some history for you. Believe it or not, some people can believe it. A dentist actually helped to invent machine-spun cotton candy back in the 1890s, and then it was introduced to a wide audience at the 1904 World's Fair in St. Louis. Now, cotton candy has other names across the world like candy floss and fairy floss.
Not to be confused with the Caskey floss.
That's a good one. That was like 2017 though, right?
Oh, sorry.
Hey, no mountain cedar today, but by Sunday, because of the north wind that kicks in late Saturday, Sunday, it's likely to be higher. So prepare for that, by the way. Floss your way through the weekend.
God. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you on the Night Beat.
See you at 10.